What's up? What's up? What's up, people? First thing first, this video caught my attention. So what I did was everything that I'm doing now is brand new to me. Never done it exclusive. So I'm gonna try it right now. This video is very interesting. Now, any video that I do not take nothing personal. I'm not here to convert nobody. I'm not here to tell nobody what's wrong. I'm not here to tell nobody what's right. I just want us all to just use our discernment. And you take what you want to take from it. Whatever you don't want to take from it, leave it right there. Don't mess with it. But if it catches your attention, if it touches your soul, you can say something about it. So, without further ado, let's check this out.
Important. This is esoteric truth. Exoteric truth denies this.
A massive amount of thinking, like truly stupendous amount of thinking, has gone into sex without procreation.
Do you know about sexual alchemy? There's 33 vertebrae in your spine. There's 33 years in the substance that comes from medulla. It basically looks like the Ark of the Covenant, has angels' wings around it. This substance comes from your medulla, makes the trip down your spine, which is the
Creation.
Do you know about sexual alchemy? There's 33 vertebrae in your spine.
That's how old Jesus was when he started his ministry.
The life of Jesus Christ. Substance that comes from your medulla, literally completely like the Ark of the Covenant, has angels' wings around it. This substance comes from your medulla, which is the Christ coming down into human form. And if you don't squander it, it ascends again and goes back up to heaven.
Now I want to pause right there. Keep in mind that when we was young, we was told that Santa Claus brings us gifts and come down the chimney. And one more before I get right back on the subject. Easter Bunny lays eggs. So I want y'all to keep this in mind. This is what they told us when we was little. This is what we got to hold on to today. Y'all check this out. Come on, let's go.
It's like Santa Claus. It comes down the chimney is because this juice or this whatever substance actually passes what's called the claustrum, which is where they got Santa Claus back up the chimney.
I just told y'all that. Yeah, now we're going to get into in depth. We ain't gonna watch it minute by minute, but we're gonna stop right here. So in
the cranium, cerebrum, and in particular the claustrum. The claustrum is sitting right there in the middle of the head. From the claustrum, brain fluid, and this fluid is an oil. And in ancient times, this fluid it's this beautiful fluid which comes from the cerebrum and pours down. It goes down and it reaches the sacral plexus, right next door to the sacrum, which are the 5 second bottommost fused vertebrae bones at the bottom of the spinal column. The bottommost portion of the spinal column is called the coccyx. Then just above the sacrum, 5 fused bones. So the cerebral plexus is connected, and the fluid which comes from the cerebrum, most part of the spinal cord. Now, the claustrum is otherwise known as the holy claustrum, simply because of this beautiful oil, this Cristos, that is produced and
holy Cristos sauce. But I remember back in my college days when I was playing basketball, or in high school, our coaches used to tell us hey man, y'all don't have sex for the game. Now I can understand why, because they ain't want us to lose our Cristos oil. They ain't want us to lose that oil that gets our body going. So, you know, when you get into a situation where it's like fight or flight. You know, when you get scared, you do some phenomenal things. So just imagine if we know how to release that into our own bodies. Again, if we can learn how to release that in our own bodies. I know half of us really don't care about that. But hey, it's on. We just here to make sure we put things out so people can for their own self validate it and point out, hey man, is this right for me? Does this fit me? It ain't got nothing to do with what's right and wrong. There's no such thing as right and wrong. But again, we're gonna implement back to what the film was talking about, the Cristos oil, and they're gonna continue to break it down. The images of the brain, they're just showing us the visionary of the beginning. And when I say the beginning, I mean the Bible, when they told us about the garden, the tree of life. They told us all this, but it was really symbolic. And we have to learn our symbols. But hopefully me getting knowledge of how to do this and some people giving me some pointers on how to do this, I bring some more information out and we just go from there, man. So let's continue.
And secreted. You see, the word secret comes from secretion, because this secretion is a secret. And the sacred of the secret, as the secretion pours down the spinal cord and reaches the sacrum, this is the marvelous way in which it has been designed.
Yeah.
And the spinal cord is basically just an extension of the brain. It also does thinking. And you see, the holy claustrum, other than Zenta claustrum, because this fluid that goes down to the sacred plexus is a sacred fluid. This is where the story of Santa Claus bringing presents down chimney comes from. It's a story of physiology, and the Bible is a beautiful manual of physiological regeneration. What happens with this fluid is that every month when the moon is in the sign where your sun was when you were in the solar plexus, which is just above the sacral plexus. And that germ is the oil, the Christ in Bethel, because the solar plexus is otherwise known as Bethlehem. And oil needs to return whence it came,
so it's
in
the same
the
anatomy that's inside the
midbrain.
body where it started.
You see, as the oil
brain,
ascends
the of your brain,
the spinal cord, the vibration of the Christ. First of all, the oil is differentiated in the pineal gland and the pituitary gland before it is sent on the spine. Is the magnetic portion. So the oil is differentiated and it is brought down the spinal cord and nerves. These are what is otherwise known as the Kundalini and the buffer. So it arrives at the sacral plexus and awaits for the divinity times to transmute that seed and cause it to rise. As it rises in the spinal cord, it eventually reaches the medulla oblongata in the pons, and otherwise known as which descends from the pineal and pituitary glands, respectively, and it feeds the lungs and the network called the tree of life. And you see, the ancients knew that this seed that is born in Bethlehem, if the to abstain sex during a period, and it would rise, and it would burst.
Stop right there. What's the whole process? This Tell me what you think about that process. Tell me what y'all think, man. Like I said, this is my first little video. Checking things out, see how I look. I'm gonna even publish it. So, people, I don't care if you get on me, I don't care, whatever. I know that information that I put out there for a few minutes, though. It'll wake some of you up. And, I only like to use that. Wake up. It is not about the waking up. It's not about the people with the solutions or people identifying the problem and then people talking about a solution, but really no solution. But I think it all starts with yourself. Again, what I mean by it starts with yourself, again, we've been taught things since we was young, ever since they cut the umbilical cord. I believe when they cut that umbilical cord, that's what wiped our memory away, and we had to start all over when we reincarnated and came back. But hey, to each his own, that's what I think. And hey, I'm not gonna go to bed dying believing what I just said, but hey, there's just a possibility. They cut that umbilical cord and wiped your memory away. You immediately start crying because you back to this dimension, and you can't even. That's why they say they can't take nothing with you when you die, when you pass. Can't take nothing with you because you ain't gonna remember that you had it. But just remember that word right there. Remember, when you come back to your original state, boy, you'll get all your powers back, and then things start coming back. It's a lot of movies that got that guideline. It's a lot of movies that got that outline. It's a lot of movies that show us. They have to show us, the ones who created us. They had to show us. So again, man, that Cristos oil, that whole crisis returning again. Like I say, whatever it is you believe in, you have free will. And I am not here to violate it. I do not want to violate it. I ain't here trying to prove nobody wrong. I just want some people that can come together and they can have conversations about this. And then we can all get the accurate information. We come together. Iron sharpens iron at the end of the day. And kings recognize kings. And they stay together and they rule and they have kingship over communities and over neighborhoods and nations. So that's just another thing. That Cristos oil, go check that out, man. It's in your brain, man. It's not no picture you got to go look at. It's not something that you got to sit up there and you talk to. You really talking to yourself. Because if you really look at it in this dimension, you take away what it looks like, because a lot of us worry about what it looks like. You're talking to yourself. So just imagine when you talk to yourself and you believe what you're talking about. All the ones who've been there, talking about ugly face and all, talking about, God, if you don't do something, I'm going to do something stupid right now. And you know I'm going to do something stupid. I'm talking about all the ones that did that. But again, Cristos oil. All right, man. Let's see how this turned out, people. Let's see how this turned out. Drop the mic, literally.